The state's Democratic Party is investigating potential election interference they say took place in Windham County. The party alleges anonymous letters attacking a Democratic candidate were sent to voters in the town of Guilford in the days before the election. They think it may have been his opponent who was behind the letters. ABC 22's Matt Holderman spoke with party leaders and people involved in this race today. He joins me now live in the newsroom to help explain it all. Matt?
Right, Lauren. Well, I have a copy of the anonymous letter sent to the people living in Guilford, and it largely mentions Zon East. He is the current chair of the Guilford Select Board and was running as a Democrat for the open state representative seat in Vermont's Windham 1 district. Now, although East did end up winning his primary race pretty handily last night, Democrats still want to get to the bottom of those letters and find out who sent them to keep future elections fair.
We want to know more. We want to know more.
The race for a state house seat in Windham County now shrouded in controversy, as Vermont's Democratic Party says one candidate may have taken part in illegal efforts to mislead voters about his opponent heading into Tuesday's primary.
This is a very clear attempt to undermine people's faith in free and fair elections in Guilford and Vernon.
According to Vermont's Democratic Party, an unknown number of voters living in Guilford received copies of this letter in the days before the election. The letter, which has an undisclosed sender, accuses Democratic House candidate Zon East of criminal activity and election fraud, saying he used his position as Guilford Select Board chair to access the town's vault and mess with ballots. VT Dem's executive director Jim Dandino says the real election fraud here is the person who sent the letter, spreading misinformation about Easts.
This is criminal election interference. This is a failure. This is a violation of campaign finance law.
While Dems have no proof yet as to who sent the letter, they have a sneaking suspicion that it may have been East's opponent, Jason Herron. Herron had run as a Republican previously, but changed parties for this year's primary.
It has all of the hallmarks of a typical MAGA extremist attack. We don't know whether or not Jason Herron is connected to these letters, but we do know he has a history of MAGA extremism.
In a statement posted to social media, Herron denied the claims and even pointed the finger back at East, saying East sent the letters to make people think he was being attacked. Herron wrote in part, quote, "This was done with the intention to discourage citizens from voting for me while simultaneously encouraging citizens to vote for my opponent. I've never sent an anonymous letter to anyone ever." In the end, East is projected to win the primary by a large margin over Herron. The unofficial tally is 743 votes to 256. While East now turns his attention to November's general election, the Democratic Party has begun its own investigation into the anonymous letters, filing public records requests with the town of Guilford and reporting the situation to Vermont's Secretary of State and Attorney General's offices. And I also reached out to East to see if he had any thoughts on the matter, and he told me he just learned of the situation last night, actually, and hasn't read the letter which I mentioned. This is a copy of right here. Instead, he told me, quote, "I'm deeply honored and humbled by the support I've received from voters in Vernon and Guilford." For now, live in the newsroom, Matt Holderman, ABC 22 News.